Hey everybody, welcome back. We are descending right now over top of Dominica, heading down into one of the most picturesque approaches in the Caribbean, Fort de France, Martinique, one of the few places, curiously enough, that I have not landed a jet. One of the few Caribbean islands that I haven't landed a jet, and you can see it right up there. It's about our 11 o'clock, and what makes Martinique so special, what makes it such a beautiful approach, is it's basically flying right into this bay. Actually, there's really no basically about it. You're flying right into a bay with the runway literally just in the midpoint of the bay. It's just so beautiful, and we're pretty much set up for the approach. I'll show you real quick what the approach looks like. You can see here, this is the airport, and we just come down here and a straight in, but you can see the airport is just right in the middle of this bay with the city on one side and high terrain around the outside. We've got the ILS approach loaded today. We're not going to need it. It's severe clear. I mean, there's some clouds, but we're not going to need to fly the approach. But I'm really excited about this one, and just trying to get in some flying before I head off on vacation next week. We've got 2 weeks coming up in the Caribbean, which should be really exciting. And this is going to be my first landing with my Charlie rudder pedals, which is pretty exciting. But let's make sure we got everything set, and I can already tell you that we don't. So this is undoubtedly going to be what, 0, and we're coming up on 10,000 feet, so we'll go landing lights on. Put the seatbelt signs on. So this should be a really pretty one. Just starting to get used to the well, not really starting to get used to the Charlies. I've had very little time to even use them. I got them on Monday. Today's Thursday. I've flown maybe 30 minutes with them. They're different than I was expecting them to be, but not in a bad way. They grip incredibly well on the floor. They're very, very solid, so you can really put them wherever you want, as opposed to my previous set, my Cytex, I had to wedge up against a board that I extended out from the floor, or from the wall rather, and that it was just the only thing I could do. Let's see, minimums here, and this is actually an interesting. Let me show you the approach here. There's one thing that's interesting about this approach, and it is the minimum section, which you can see here, MACG, and you have all these minimum 3.0, 4.0, and you wonder, what is that? What that is missed approach climb gradient, MACG. And what that means is your minimums are different depending on how well your plane can climb, which ought to tell you something. So because we're in a jet and we can climb like a homesick angel, we've got nice low minimums. So final approach course, geez, I haven't set anything up now that I realize it. Final approach course is 095, both sides. I'm so used to flying RNAV approaches because, like every other pilot in the world, I'm lazy, and we like flying RNAV approaches because they're very easy. Port de France traffic, American 29er62 is 25 miles to the north, inbound runway 10, Port de France. And so I did not set up my, let's see here, 1099 both sides. 1099 both sides. 113.3 is the FOF VOR in case we need that. So that's all good. And let's make sure we're on the right radio frequency, and we are. Looks like we might actually get some little bit of IMC here, but should be pretty straightforward. But the Charlies are really comfortable. You've got to figure out how to use them first, and they have I don't know if it's a feature per se, but when you fly in real life, there are certain phases of flight where one of the kind of, not necessarily a checklist item, but something you think about is toes off the brakes. And if you have toe brakes, a lot of times your feet, depending on how they're resting, can or could potentially press up against the brakes. So you've got to be careful that you've got your toes off the brakes. And the Charlie, when I first started using them, I was putting my heels on the bar on the bottom of the pedal, and that's actually not what it's for. The balls of your feet should go on that bar, and I can show you more about that in a video here at some point. But I really like the Charlies. Let's see here again. The approach into the village, or into the bay here. Should be very, very pretty. Alright, everything looks good on this side, everything looks good here. And good here. Cabin is depressurizing, and good here. Alright, we're gonna go speed brakes, or auto brakes 2. Port de France traffic, American 29er62, 10 mile left base, runway 10, Port de France. It's easier than saying that than saying 5 miles from IFF 10. Of course, this is normally a towered field, but so this is going to be a 10-mile final once we turn final here. Get down to 1400. We'll bring it down to 1500. Speed brake armed. Power set to about 60. Port de France traffic, American 29er62, turning a 10-mile final, runway 10, Port de France. Go flaps 5. The airport there out ahead of us. Alright. Toes are off the brake. Up if we arm the approach, right? Localizer and glide slope captured. Alright, we'll go gear down. Flaps 15. Alright, that's gear down 3 green. Speed brakes are armed. Flaps. Auto brakes are set. Engine starters on continuous. Lights are on. Port de France traffic. American 29er62, 7 mile final runway 10, Port de France. And we'll bring this down. Start slowing us down here. You can see the approach, just gorgeous. Coming up on 5,000 feet, or 5 miles rather. Flaps 30. Missed approach altitude is 3,000. Set that. Alright. We should be good to go here. $1,300 for 300. Port de France traffic, American 29er62, 3 mile final runway 10, Port de France. Just a gorgeous view. This is such a beautiful airport too.
1,000.
Alright. Alright. Auto throttle and speed brakes are auto throttle and autopilot disengaged my airplane.
Traffic.
Better not be any traffic.
Plus 100. Minimums.
Continuing.
$100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
That was alright.
My friend, is how you land an aircraft.
Oh boy, that was the cheesiest thing in history. I gotta get my feet up on those so I can apply the toe brakes here. Alright, so we did alright. Not too bad, I don't think. get the APU going here. We didn't do too bad. That cheesy call at the end was from FS Realistic, and yeah, I would have preferred not to have heard that, but I didn't know. Maybe usually my landings are so bad I usually don't get the good feedback there from the co-pilot, but in any event, we made it, and this is version 2 of the Fort de France scenery. Which should be pretty good. You can see here it's a beautiful airport. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with that approach and landing. I'm definitely going to be happy to get a look at this airport. Turn our landing lights off here. Runway turn off lights off. So all in all, given that I really don't get much chance to fly this airplane anymore, I feel pretty good about that. We were supposed to come in the other direction here, and it would have made it a heck of a lot easier, I think, to park, but that's alright. Take a look here in a second and see what our landing rate was, and the cool thing about the Charlies is that you can, like I said, now I've got my feet positioned, so I've got my toes on the toe brakes. The controls are beautiful. It has a lot more brake travel than other aircraft I've flown. So that's one of the things that's really pretty nice about it. And we'll turn that. We don't have a first officer today. We are low budget carrier. So we've got to do all this ourselves. And turn the electric boot pumps off. You bleed on, turn these off. Alright, so we should be pretty good. And come down and get our turnaround going here. And we definitely want AC. It is warm. And that's pretty much that. So you can see a really nice airport. Beautiful rendition. The problem is there aren't a lot of, at least US based carriers that go in here, so I can only go in with American Airlines on certain days, and they just started doing this route, so but we are all set. And yeah, that's about that. It's gonna be the only flying for me today, and yeah, we're gonna, like I said, be heading down to the Caribbean in a couple, well, about 10 days now. I'll be heading down to Anguilla and St. Martin. Really looking forward to that. In the meantime, we'll be streaming tomorrow, Friday, Sunday, and next Wednesday before we head out. So I hope this finds you guys well. I hope you enjoyed this approach, and we will see you soon. And the last thing, I forgot to check what my landing rate was. 145 feet per minute. Not bad. Not bad at all. So hope you guys are doing well, and we shall talk soon.